Welcome to today's deep dive, and we're going to be talking about something that you might not expect.
Oh,
Yeah, the link between your garden and European green policies.
okay. Sure.
Whether you're like a serious gardener, someone interested in sustainability, or just curious about how global trends like hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, this is going to be interesting for you.
Yeah.
So the source material that we're using for this is actually a blog post from Hong Mao Garden,
Oh, cool.
which is a Chinese company that makes eco-friendly garden products.
Okay.
So they've got kind of a front row seat to how all these EU policies are playing out. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize how much of an impact it actually has.
Yeah.
So to get started, the EU is aiming for carbon neutrality by 2050,
Wow.
which is a pretty big goal.
Yeah, it is. And what's so interesting about that is it goes beyond just like
Right.
the huge industries. It's actually changing what you're going to find like at your local garden center. It's influencing the materials, the production, even like the designs of things you're using in your own backyard.
That's wild. So are we saying goodbye to like those flimsy plastic planters that you can get at like
You
big box stores?
Exactly. Think durable, recyclable metal instead.
Ooh, cool.
And it's not just about swapping out the materials. These policies are pushing manufacturers to use less energy, make less waste, and adopt cleaner technology like all around.
So it's like they're raising the bar on what it means to be
Totally.
eco-friendly in the garden.
Absolutely. And it's not even just a top-down regulation. European consumers are becoming more eco-conscious.
Yeah.
They're demanding more transparency, and they're looking for those green certifications.
I've definitely seen a lot more of that, like
Yeah.
green certifications on products.
Yeah, they're not just for show anymore. These certifications are becoming like really crucial for businesses to build trust and even compete with each other. Consumers are starting to realize that their choices, even in the garden, can have an impact.
It's like every little thing you do can add up to something bigger.
Exactly.
It seems like Hongmao Garden is actually navigating all of these changes pretty well.
They are. Their blog post highlights how they're actually not just meeting these EU standards, but even exceeding them in some cases.
Wow.
Yeah, they talk about investing in low energy production and using recyclable metals in their products, like those sleek metal compost bins you see around.
Yeah.
Those are actually a Hongmao specialty.
Oh, cool.
They're designed to be durable, recyclable, and totally in line with all those European sustainability goals.
And they're even going above and beyond with international certifications like REACH compliance.
Right. REACH is all about making sure the chemicals that are used in products are safe for both humans and the environment.
Okay.
And it involves like a really rigorous testing process.
So they're not just like following the rules, they're really trying to set a new standard.
Yeah, they're kind of leading the way.
So what does all this mean for like our listener when they're at the garden center, shopping for things for their garden?
Well, it means that you have like way more information than ever before to make good choices. You can look for those certifications like research companies and actually like support the businesses that are really committed to sustainability.
It's like you have a superpower.
Yeah.
The power to choose a greener garden.
Right.
But these changes can't be easy for businesses to deal with, right?
You're right. Adapting to new regulations and investing in new technologies takes a lot of effort and resources. But, forward-thinking businesses are starting to see this as like an opportunity. It's like, necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Exactly.
And Hongmao Garden is a great example. They're showing how sustainability and business success can actually go hand in hand.
And in their blog post, they talk about how they've actually made these changes and it's helped them.
Exactly. They detail how they've optimized production to cut energy use and actually reduce their carbon emissions. They've actually turned this potential challenge into a competitive advantage for them.
That's right.
It's a really important message, especially now, because we need companies to show that going green can actually lead to innovation growth and a better future for everyone.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the specific strategies that businesses are using to adapt and do well in like this new landscape?
Well, a big one is optimizing their production processes. Using less energy, reducing emissions during manufacturing, and minimizing waste.
Yeah, it's like finding the hidden inefficiencies.
Exactly.
And then making them better.
Right. And then there's the product development side. Companies are focusing on eco-friendly materials, durability, and designing products that are going to last longer.
So instead of something that you're just going to throw away after one season,
Right.
you have something that's going to last for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's higher quality, longer lasting, and also recyclable.
Awesome.
And remember those certifications we were talking about?
Yeah.
Achieving those like REACH compliance is really key. They show a real commitment to those high environmental standards, and they help build trust with you, the consumer.
Right.
And finally, there's supply chain management.
Yeah.
It's all about working with suppliers who also adhere to these regulations, ensuring a sustainable approach like throughout the entire process.
So it's like they're all working together.
Yeah, it's like teamwork, building a greener ecosystem together.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's actually where we're going to pick up after a quick break. We'll be diving deeper into how these policies are driving innovation and what that means for the future of gardening.
That was good.
All right. Yeah, it's really amazing how something as simple as gardening is connected to these like big global shifts towards sustainability.
It really is. We were just talking about how companies are like adapting to these new standards. But I'm kind of curious, like what other changes are we seeing as a result of these policies?
Well, one of the most exciting things is this wave of innovation that these policies are giving. You know, when businesses are challenged to meet these stricter environmental standards, they're forced to get creative and find new solutions.
So they have to rethink how they're doing everything.
Yeah, like the materials they're using, the way they design and manufacture products. And we're seeing some incredible advancements in things like material science manufacturing processes and even product design.
Oh, wow.
Like, for example, companies are exploring bio-based plastics made from plants.
That's cool.
They're developing innovative recycling techniques and even using 3D printing to create like custom on-demand garden products.
So it's not just encouraging eco-friendly practices. It's pushing the boundaries on what's possible.
Absolutely. And these innovations aren't limited to Europe.
Oh, really?
As these sustainable practices become more mainstream, they're influencing businesses and consumers globally.
So it's spreading.
Yeah, and Hong Mao Garden with its international presence is a perfect example. They're not just meeting EU standards. They're setting a new bar for sustainability in like the global gardening market.
So it's like what starts as a regional policy can have a global impact.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point. The growing power of consumer awareness.
Okay.
As more people become aware of the environmental impact of their choices, they're demanding products that reflect their values.
So they're making a conscious effort to buy from companies that are doing the right thing.
Exactly. And this consumer-driven demand is pushing businesses to go above and beyond just complying with regulations. They're actively looking for ways to differentiate themselves by showcasing their commitment to sustainability.
So it's kind of like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Where consumers want more sustainable products.
Yeah.
Which pushes companies to be more sustainable.
Exactly. And that loop is only getting stronger. As the effects of climate change become more evident, we can expect even more ambitious policies and a greater push for sustainability across all industries.
Not just gardening.
Yeah, not just gardening.
So what we're talking about today is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Absolutely. What we're seeing in the gardening industry is really a reflection of a much larger transformation that's happening across the whole global economy.
So it really emphasizes how even small choices can make a difference.
Yeah.
Whether you're choosing a metal planter over a plastic one or supporting a business that prioritizes sustainability, you're helping to build a more sustainable future.
And speaking of the future, let's shift our attention to what lies ahead for the gardening world. What trends can we anticipate as these policies continue to evolve?
Well, one thing that seems to be gaining a lot of traction is this concept of circularity.
Right. It's not enough to just use recyclable materials anymore. We have to consider the entire life cycle of a product from design to disposal and ensure that materials are kept in use for as long as possible.
Oh, wow. So it's about creating this closed-loop system where waste is minimized and resources are constantly being reused and repurposed.
Exactly. And this is driving innovation in areas like designing products for easy disassembly, advanced recycling technologies, and even composting systems that can turn garden waste into valuable resources.
So you're basically turning your garden into a mini ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because that's ultimately what we're aiming for. A world where human activity exists in harmony with nature, where we're not just taking resources, but we're also giving back and creating a truly sustainable future.
And that all starts with the choices that we make each day.
Yeah.
Whether in our gardens or in our everyday lives.
Well said. And on that note, let's wrap up our deep dive by exploring what all of this means for you and the future of gardening.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about these EU policies, the innovative solutions that are popping up. I think it's really clear that things are changing, and it's all kind of connected to this big movement towards sustainability.
Yeah, you're right. We've seen how like small regulations can spark these big trends, encourage creative thinking, and even get people to make more conscious choices.
So what does all this mean for our listener, like as they're planning their next gardening project?
Well, first, it means they've got way more options now to make a garden that's both beautiful and sustainable.
Right.
Like, we're talking durable metal planters, efficient compost bins. The market's really responding to this whole demand for eco-friendly products.
And it means our listeners have the power to make informed decisions, like all those certifications we talked about, like REACH compliance.
Yeah,
Those are there to help identify companies that are really serious about this.
absolutely.
Okay.
Beyond that, this whole shift towards sustainable practices is actually opening up some cool new possibilities in different fields.
Oh, like what?
Well, we're seeing more green jobs pop up, like designers focusing on sustainable products, experts in circular economy models.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see all the innovation happening because of this growing awareness of
Yeah.
environmental issues.
Because I've talked about how these trends are like taking root in Europe, but
Hmm.
I'm curious, what kind of impact could this have as it spreads to other parts of the world?
That is a great question. It's like we're at the beginning of a global shift in how we think about things. And it's really exciting to see what happens as more people and businesses embrace these sustainable practices. Who knows what awesome solutions we'll see in the future?
I think it feels like we're at a turning point, and it's really inspiring to see how something like gardening can be part of such a big movement. So thanks for joining us today on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you've learned something, and maybe you're even feeling inspired to make your garden a little bit greener.
Yeah, that would be great.
Until next time, happy gardening.